Hi everyone, welcome to World Book Fair 2026. Today we have Ruby who's here for her book Travel, Trust and Transform, and we're going to have an organic conversation with her today. Welcome to the World Book Fair 2026. My first question to you is this your first time or have you been here before?
Well, this is my first time in World Book Fair, and it feels like homecoming. For a long time, these stories stayed between margins of my office calendar and pages of my own journal. Now, to be here with this book, sharing it to reader, turns out to be a solitary journey into a shared conversation. It feels deeply full circle. The whisper once echoed in a Singapore cafe in 2013 has finally found a voice strong enough to be echoed in a hall which is already filled with a lot of stories. It's a honor and also a powerful reminder that your own journey can become a map to inspire others.
Very, very well. I think, we all talk about, leaving a mark in this big world, and your book is doing exactly that for you in this huge environment that we call, the fair.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Anil.
All right. So I would like to move on to my second question, which is like the crux of the book. Like, how did you develop the central idea of this? How did this come into picture? Was it like, instant? Was it like eventual? Like, did it happen organically or did something, spark it?
Not at all. The clarity came very much late into my life. In the beginning, I used to see them as an isolated adventures, like thrilling, meaningful, but scattered one. And they were always into part of my home drawer journals and also in my heart. Clarity came only into silence, which followed all the doing. And suddenly, I started seeing the whole picture and the pattern that these journeys were a curriculum in trust and mapped beautifully around the five ancient elements, which are air, water, fire, earth, and akasha. So the framework didn't change anything, it only revealed the shape they were always been in. And writing the book came as an act of discovery, not just part of storytelling.
I think that's a very unique take on things related to travel writing, because a lot of authors write travel related stuff, create travel related content. They have that intention of actually doing it for the audience. But I think yours was a very different trajectory, because you started traveling first and then you eventually decided to write.
Yeah, right. For the in the aim of transforming other lives as well.
Of course, it's always part of the process that whenever we do something for ourselves, actually ends up motivating and inspiring others more than us.
Yeah, right. But my book is fusion of these two books. I have written it in a very different speed,
Right.
sketched around dozens of different countries across many continents.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so my third question to you is, what are some of the books or some authors or some genre that inspired you to, write or maybe, read or become an author?
Many books have walked besides me, but two books which cracked something open into me. One was Wild, which is from Cheryl Strait, and another one is from Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So both of these books inspired me to live with courage, to discover my own true self and connect with divine. Both of these books give the same liberating lessons that your story doesn't need to be heroic to be, valuable. It just needs to be raw and honest to motivate and inspire others.
That's very important to connect
Yeah.
with readers and general public, because
Yeah.
if you are just writing to be a hero figure or you're just heroifying yourself, I think only a handful of people in the audience will be able to relate to you. But like you mentioned, I think this way of approaching things would resonate with a lot of readers.
Yeah, right. But my book is actually a fusion of these two books, like searching for the same meaning, but I have written it in a very different speed. Like Wild was chronicled around one relentless Pacific Crest trail, but mine is mapped around dozens of extreme adventures across the globe. And Eat, Pray, Love was unfolded deeply into three different countries, but mine is sketched around dozens of different countries across many continents.
No, I get it. I mean, you talk about Eat, Pray, Love, and I watched that movie also. I read the book also. So sorry to interrupt you, but I would want to ask, like, is this book also potentially something that can become a movie later?
That answer I leave on the audience and the readers. If they think that my story is raw and honest, then definitely, yeah, I'm open that if it get selected for a movie as well. But yeah, all I can say that it's raw and honest from my perspective.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, I want to move to my next question. So, of course, you mentioned that, you started traveling and eventually led to, the writing process. It was that way around, right? So, my question is also about that. Like, how much does your personal life, of course, travel is part of your personal life. So, how much does your personal life impact your writing? And do you think one ultimately ought to separate the personal from the professional, or do you think it should add to the, crux and the essence of it?
For this book, writing is a personal thing. In a day, I navigate the structured world of a corporate employee, and this book has come out of that particular space, forced by my global journeys, my spiritual seeking, and quiet reflection. So, as a memoir, the story has to be raw and honest, as I believe that a lot of creativity comes only from your own personal experiences, where you give yourself full, your wants, your fears, your joys, your sorrows, all of our aspects of life you put into the pages, but you shape them beautifully with the discipline of craft. And that craft is the alchemy, because it transforms your personal experiences into something that can form into a universal meaning for others. And that's what is a purposeful transformation all about.
Very well put. I think that's a brilliant way of putting things, because a lot of authors, they get somewhere lost in the process of trying to write something that will appeal to the audience more than what is real. So when you're saying that you're being more raw and more honest, I think that will take you a long way ahead. This is what I feel as a reader.
Well, thank you very much for your initial feedback. Let's see.
So my next question to you is, this is as a reader myself. Now that your book is out, it's published, it's launched, do you think in retrospect you see that, maybe this is something I should have done differently, or this is something, this perspective could have been, a little different, or like something, after you read the final product, did you realize that, okay, I think this chapter or this part or this climax or the beginning or something could have been a little better?
Well, memoir is something which is always raw and honest. So when I started writing this book, I was a different woman, and when I finished this book, I am a different person. But that doesn't change the essence of a particular story, like who I was in that particular moment. And that's the reality we need to give it to the reader. Otherwise, we won't have anything extra to offer to them. So I would like to explain it with an example. Like when I was on a global journey in Nordic country, in Arctic Ocean, and I needed to jump into that icy water as part of my one of adventurous experiences, and it was freezing like hell, like minus 25 degree.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and a lot of people have chose not to go into the water, and it was all dark outside there, but I chose to go. That initial fear, what I felt in that particular moment, what I was thinking, what was going into my mind, that's what I captured in the memoir. Right. But sitting here, I don't have that feeling, that fear anymore. Right. So the absolute truth of what kind of woman I was at that particular moment is what is being written in a memoir. And that's what I think makes a memoir more real and honest.
This brings me to my next question, and I was going to ask you this a little later in the interview, but now that you mentioned about you changing during the journey of writing, you mentioned travel, trust and transform. So my next question is, how did the writing process truly transform you as a person?
Well, I think when someone writes a book, reader will transform maybe later once he read it, but it transforms the author first, who is writing, because at the time he will put everything into the writing, like honest joy, sorrow, fear and earth, and when they write and put the things out, it means it is being more aligned with their thought process. Now they will be more clear with their own ideas, so that will give them another level of confidence. That's what I can say.
Interesting, because every time I am on a journey myself, could be with friends, could be with family, could be solo, every single journey transforms a little part of me. And I mean, you've written about it, you've written your journey, and throughout your exploration in the global world, I can only imagine that this could have been very transformative for you as well, and I hope it is for the audience who read it.
Thank you.
My next question is like, was there a particular moment where you realize, okay, this is it. These are the journeys, or these are the set of memoirs that I need to include in this particular book? Like, was there a moment where you were like, okay, now I think this book is enough? Or did you ever feel like, hey, you know what, I could add a little more, or maybe travel a little more, and add that journey also, that episode also?
Well, yeah, a writer will never be satisfied with its own writing.
It should be like that.
Because we grow and evolve every single day, right? So whatever kind of sentence, how I structured it yesterday, I might change it the next day. So how I took it, I started seeing the satisfaction in the eyes of my first trusted beta readers.
Okay.
For an example, I wrote first chapter, which is about my snowy Himalayan expedition, where I was there in the snow for about a week, and we also encountered ghosts. So, and the temperature was also about -9 degrees. So I wrote the complete chapter about it, and I shared it with one of my beta readers who is also a tracker. So when he started telling me, I can resonate with it, I can relate to it. That's when I realized that now this story is ready to leave the hands of mine and can live in the world. And I don't need to add anything. I just need to release it, and the circle is fully closed.
Very well, very well. Because a lot of authors feel that urge to always, go ahead and, add a little more to the chapter. This episode could have been a little better, tweak it a little way. But I'm glad, things were a little different. And I think it's for travel writing. Travel writing mostly is a little complete in itself. Of course, you can refine it, you can change the language, you can improve the language, but then at the end of the day, it's a journey, and journey is limited. We all have our journeys, and it's always limited, and I think that helps travel writing. My next question is, did you deliberately decide to be a travel writer, or like it just organically happened and you have also thought of writing something else?
As I said, that this book is not just about travel.
It's also about transformation.
It's also about trusting those 5 ancient elements,
Right.
which gives us lessons to become a better human being in every single day of life. That's what this book is all about. The base is travel and adventure, obviously, to make it interesting for the readers. But the core idea is to, inculcate those ancient elements, lessons into our daily life, and that can help us to transform for a better human being. Like in a situation, maybe in any difficult situation of daily life, we can think from the elemental lens. Like, do we need to do the grounding right now, like earth, or we need something to release negativity and flow with water, or we need to, everything is going just as it is, and we need that spark to transform, our life just like fire does, or we need to surrender right now to the unknown and start trusting the winds as it comes. Or at the same time, we should stop thinking that we are alone. We are always being guided by something greater. Everything, every single stumbles or leaps are part of our own becoming. So maybe when reader finish this book, I would want them to be companioned and also empowered, so that they can start writing their next chapter of life in their own ways.
Very beautiful way of putting things. I want to know a little more about your writing process. Like, are you one of those authors or writers who have like an intricate process, or are you one of those like, I want to go with the flow and see how it comes out?
Mine is both.
Okay.
So first couple of drafts were very raw, uncensored, or maybe emotional. I would call it a vomiting on the pages.
Wow.
So architectural phase came later on, where I started making the structure, refining metaphors, and also aligning my own journey with the elements. So that's how it happened with me. And in terms of avoiding, I tried to become perspective. Like, this book is not about 10 ways of how to transform your life, right? So I haven't given those kind of instruction to the readers. What I did, like in a chapter, I was overweight of 20 kg. So how I took that part, how I transformed my life in that part, what kind of challenges came into my life, and how I kept myself motivated throughout the journey, and how I faced the world at that time. Those kind of journeys I mentioned into this book. At the end of those chapters, I have given just subtle invitation, like which can trigger some self-inquiry in the head of the readers, that maybe help them in start questioning.
Right.
that they really need any transformation right now in their life or not. So the story is mine, but the question will be the reader's own question to make them introspect, and if they want, they can start looking for answers and can see the ways through my journeys.
Right.
So this is about that.
I mean, the first step always in the transformative journey is to question.
Yeah. So my book will only give those prompts at the end of those chapters,
Right.
like 2, 3, 4 prompts that can help them to start questioning. Only if they want to. Only if any reader want to.
Right. It will act like a trigger, or like it will have a spiral effect on
Yeah.
their transformative journey as well.
Yeah, right. And those are not like, okay, I have done transformation through my 20 kg of weight loss journey, then you also need to do that. No. Those are not questions. The question is maybe a difficult phase going on where you need to make the changes right now. Maybe a difficult project at work, maybe something at home. So that transformation need to be triggered as a self-inquiry, not as a instruction.
I think that's very important. And my next question is for the readers, people who are gonna potentially read your book and hopefully buy and maybe circulate it in their circle. What is one thing that you wish that every single reader of yours would take back? If you had the choice of telling them one thing that they should take back.
I think permission to listen to their own inner whisper, to honor their own restlessness, and to define courage in their own terms. The courage can be a moment where they chose to go to skydive or want to do the jump, or it can be a situation at their workplace with boss to do an honest conversation, or with a partner. So anything, that courage they need to define on their own terms. So this is what I would expect that can help. And another thing, as I mentioned earlier also, start thinking the daily life through the elemental framework, air, water, fire, earth and akasha, and just start listening to yourself and start writing your own life in your own ways, and always think that those elements will support and guide in every single ways to us.
So when you say that this will help readers give themselves permission to listen to their own inner whisper, are you trying to also say that a lot of us, including myself, we block that deliberately or unintentionally? Is it like something subconscious that we do not realize?
This book is maybe for the one who is lost in the journey, not for the one who already know everything in their life. So if someone is lost in their journey and they would want to some certain ways of how the element framework will help them, maybe those readers will be the target audience.
Makes sense. Of course, when you wrote the book, you had a very different, because it's a memoir, and you had a very different experience. You were in a different world, some other part of the globe. But when readers will pick it up, I mean, they're mostly from India, varied, backgrounds. So, how do you perceive a reader having absolutely different perspective or opinion on something that you've written? Do you take it as a motivation or inspiration to go in that direction, or do you receive it as, I think everybody has a unique take on it?
Well, I will welcome it with honesty and respect. Memoir is one person's truth, not a universal truth.
Of course.
So if it is provoking any kind of different opinions or perspective, it means first of all the person has invested a lot of time in reading. That is also a success. And different interpretations only reveal that one story can live differently and can grow into different meaning. And that's where the magic also happens, and the book will turn from a monologue to a conversation, and that's why I actually shared it.
Very, very, very.
You see that magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well, very well. So, Ruby, before I wrap this up, I mean, of course, toward the end of this, I would want you to tell your readers about your book, why they should pick it up, anything that you would want to, share with your potential readers. But before we proceed with that, I want to know a little about you as a person. Where are you coming from? Where did you grow up? What did you study? What transformed you into the person that you are today? Other than the things you've mentioned in the book already, of course, readers are going to pick it up and read about that. But what about the background? Like, where is Ruby Jain coming from?
Well, I hail from Rajasthan, from a small
That
town.
makes two of us.
Right.
May I know which place?
Well, I am from very small place called Kuchaman city. That's in Nagaur district. That is my roots. But from the age of 16, I have been away from my home. And first for my graduation, then for my post graduation, and then for my different jobs which I have done across last decade. I've lived into multiple cities in India. And most prominently I have lived in Singapore for about 4 or 5 years, and that's when I was working in a investment bank. That was a migration project, and I was leading it proactively, and that's the time, you know, I started traveling and exploring the world. So travel started from there. With travel, adventure started as part of my separate exploration. One cafe moment happened, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara moment happened, and I started exploring the world differently. But at the same time, in the stillness of life, I started exploring the other aspects of things which are away from job, promotion, bank balance, lands, you know, personal achievements. That there is something else which we need to learn about. That is what spirituality is all about. And I started becoming a spiritual seeker. And that's when I realized that you also need to live for a greater purpose in your life, and give back to the world in your own ways. Whatever ways you think is good, maybe a money, maybe a good story, maybe a small help, or maybe intellectual thing, but we need to give back to the world. So I've been a spiritual seeker in those aspects. And as a passionate person, I'm also a astrologer.
I think I need to consult you.
Only if you believe. Right now I know Vedic astrology. I've been a student of this subject of about 5 years now, and I do help my friends and family around it. I don't professionally pursue it. And this year I started exploring the world of writing. So that's how, you know, this thing came out.
I think you're living the life of everybody's dream. Just everything.
As I said, you need to be true to yourself first and listen to your own whisper. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely. I think you're the epitome of living and inspiring people, because you're doing it yourself. You're just not teaching it.
Yes, I'm doing it, and every single year, I try to learn new or other things in my own ways, and that has been my life so far. After this writing, which has been more purposeful offering to the world, I don't know what next will come into my life, but I hope the next chapter will be also good one, and I will come up with more such writing. Of course, maybe in the fiction world or maybe in non-fiction other word, but I try to put in my ideas in some other forms as well after this memo.
Really looking forward to that before this wonderful session, because this is as candid as it gets, and I just wanted it to be exactly like that. Of course, before we move out, I want you to tell your readers why should they read the book. Tell them something about it. Anything, any message that you have for our readers.
Well, although it's a part of memoir, but you can read it for some travel inspiration, some fun moment which I had with the strangers, some thrill and drama which happened when I was doing lot of adventurous activity, extreme adventure activity across the globe. Or if you want to also see what kind of key takeaways happened into my life after that, and how those elements helped me and how it can help you as well in your daily life. And last but not the least, some spiritual seeking from the eyes of different monks which I have spoken to. Those parts are also part of my book. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Thank you for this great session. We had Ruby Jain with us with her debut, Travel, Trust and Transform. I hope we get to read a lot more about her and by her. Thank you so much for signing in.